am bam damn a damn Alabama fan and proud of it. Gump Nation forever, brother.
Namath again faking, quickly finds his target.
Now cuts in. He's at the 40-yard line. He's at the 30.
Quick drop throws in the end zone.
Each number represents an expectation, a challenge that only a championship tradition can issue.
Pressure. Anders hits him. The ball is loose. Alabama, here comes the heat.
Cornelius Bennett.
Whoa, did he get lit up?
It is an endless passing of the torch that urges the wearer to enrich his legacy.
Brings pressure up the middle in a hurry. They can't get away from Donovan. Alexander first down and more.
Richardson breaks free on the sideline. Turns the corner. Can you say goodbye?
Because at Alabama, tradition is not retired. It is built.
Put a smile on my face.
Big up for it. Fires to the end zone. Will not be denied. Is back as the champion.
Catch. Devontae Smith.
Risky throw picked up by Patrick Surtain.
It is not too bad. Not too bad, Jeff. Hey, man, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
No, well, I'm all right, man. It's nice 36 degrees, a little bit of snow, and feels good outside.
Wait a minute. Did Jeff Stapleton ask you if it was cold in South Bend?
Yeah.
Did you get an apartment with Tyler Buckner or something? What happened? How'd you end up in
Hey,
South Bend?
I'm into lacrosse.
Oh,
No, hell no.
hey, I never knew that about you. Didn't know Bigfoot played lacrosse.
Hey, you know how it is?
That's why nobody ever sees it.
Oh, goodness gracious. Uh-oh, look at you, Hunter. You reckon we can twist his dadgum arm and get his little butt on the show today?
Who's that?
Oh, Lucian?
I don't think it'd take a whole lot. I mean, that man loves to talk about Alabama football. It don't take a whole lot of persuading.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take his little finger like they did on Major Payne. Then show you a trick to take your mind off that pain, brother. Yeah.
I love the little engine that could story in that movie. God,
Yeah. That was a good movie. I don't
it
care
was,
what anybody
man. I grew up on that one.
said. Great, listen. All you got to do, brother, is just show up. We'll put you on.
Look at the chat, boy. They're rolling.
Man, they missed you.
I doubt that. I think they're just fired up. I think we all just want. We're ready for fall. We're ready for some football again.
I'm ready for spring.
Oh, me too.
I cannot wait.
You gonna try to go to the A-Day game this year?
Man, no. All my fans have mobbed me, and I'm no old man. I can't survive that kind of stuff anymore.
Yeah, well, it's pretty good.
All one of them. Huh?
That's pretty good travel for you too.
Oh yeah, it would be. You're talking 8 hours plus 2 hours, so that's going to be at least a 10-hour drive. Plus motel room, whatever. So no, I don't know. It's rolling, but I don't know if I will or not.
I think I'm gonna have to. I got to see what we look like, and my expectations are realistic, but they're still high because I really feel like this staff. I feel like we're putting together collectively one of the best staffs in the country again.
Yeah.
And I love what this head coach is doing, and so I want to go down there. And I know you're not going to see exactly what you're going to see in the fall, in spring, but I love to see the building blocks and the foundation being laid down. So, as a football fan, just a guy that loves to see how things come together, I really think I'm gonna have to go down and watch it.
All right. Well, let's talk about the staff. You want to?
Yeah. In fact,
Are you want to wait? Are you want to wait till Lucy gets on here?
we'll wait because he's a lot like me. We're defensive guys, and I thought we would probably start out with Kane Womack, and I probably go on him a little while. I'm really excited to see what he's going to bring.
Yeah. Okay. Who else have we got on the defensive side?
Let's see. What is that gentleman's name? Maurice, is it Lindquist? I believe his name. I think that's his name. He was Buffalo.
Tommy Reese?
No. Hey, by the way, you put a all points bulletin out for him last week, and I heard he was interviewing for a tight end job with the Browns.
Yep, I did too. I said, hey, we found him.
Yeah. Boy, don't you know Coach Duty be cussing like hell right now? Woo! He loves some Browns now.
Hey, it's spooky the way I do things, ain't it?
It really is. You mentioned it, you speak it into existence.
I'm telling you. Ask Lucy, he'll tell you.
Yeah. I think you forgot your Michigan Alabama score.
I don't think he has either.
I know I sure as hell hadn't. Well, before we get into that real quick, because I see Jeff Staples is just a little bit fired up for some NFL playoffs, so I'm just going to take a few minutes. He's a big 49ers fan. They got the Lions tonight, who have got the possibility to go for the Super Bowl the first time ever. We talked a little bit backstage about it. They haven't played for a championship since Bobby Lane was a quarterback back in the 50s. And when he traded him, he put a curse on him. And I think he told them they wouldn't be good for another 60 years, and it held true. It held true. They've had some of the greatest players of all time with nothing around them. Barry Sanders, they had Megatron at receiver and nothing to go around them. So pretty wild how it worked out. They got a good football team, got some good Bama players on that team. 49ers are the clear pick. I mean,
Stafford.
Do what now?
Stafford.
Oh, he's at the Rams.
Is he?
Yeah.
I mean, he was pretty good. I liked him over.
Oh, he was. He was one of the last true gunslingers, in my opinion, as far as just being able to throw it all over the field and take a chance. And, you can count on it. Oh, yeah, tough guy, too. Georgia quarterback. So, I mean, we're heaping praise on him, but he was a great player. Yeah.
Yep. So he's with the Rams now?
He is. In fact, if we want to go over it just real quick, as far as that 49ers and Lions matchup, I think the 49ers are favored by 7. I think that's the spread right now. I'm curious how the 49ers, they got a good defense, but the Lions have got a great two-headed rushing attack with Jahmyr Gibbs, who used to play for Bama, and David Montgomery. And a bold prediction going around right now says that Gibbs will get another touchdown, which would be his 3rd consecutive playoff game with a touchdown. He'll be in a short list of company of NFL rookies that's ever done it. See, Jeff says that the Lions' key offensive lineman is out. Niners will attack that weak spot. Luckily for y'all, it's not supposed to rain today, because if it does, Brock Bowers is a lot like that movie Gremlins. If it gets wet, it don't really perform good anymore. That's just what I've seen this year. He played above his abilities. I don't know that I trust him still. He's good, not great. But, yeah, I'm more focused. It's hard to pick against the Niners. A lot of people think they're the best roster in football, best team in football. I counter that with my team, who's playing on the other side of the NFL there, the Baltimore Ravens. We play the Chiefs today. A lot of us are picking the Ravens that wasn't Ravens fans because we're tired of hearing about Taylor Swift. And the Chiefs, So, there's a lot of reasons for me. I'd love to see Lamar Jackson get in the big game. That's been a big doubt in his career, even though he's won a lot of individual awards. A lot of people don't think he can win in the playoffs. And, being a Ravens fan has been fun my whole life because we're consistently pretty good. But, winning that Super Bowl is a big deal for any fan base. So I'm looking forward to see if we can get back. If we play the 49ers, it'll be a matchup from 2011, 2012 when we beat them for the Super Bowl. Even though they turned the lights out on us.
So the Ravens and the Chiefs play tonight?
Yes.
Is that it? And I guess the 49ers and also tonight. Be a good Sunday night. I hate them gonna miss it.
Yeah, I probably won't get to see much of it either because word on the street is there's a Bigfoot show coming on tonight.
I heard that too.
And I'm probably not going to miss that one because they already kind of reeled me in last week. Man, I love that. I'm gonna tell you right now, loved AT's story. I like the way he told his story. A lot of conviction when he's telling his story. You believe him. You know what I mean? And of course, if any of y'all ever had any reaction with Alabama Tide, he's not much of a BSer, but I mean, the way he told that story, you could see it. He painted the picture. And then, of course, Coyote was great, man. You could go hours with Coyote just telling the stories. I love that. Easily.
If I don't cut him off at the pass, he could go on. That man's got more stories and I'm not talking about Bigfoot stuff. I'm just talking about just his life in general.
Oh yeah,
I love him to death.
So. Yeah, I mean, I was rooting for another appearance, even though he's an Auburn fan.
He's not an Auburn fan.
He's just working the crowd like a professional wrestler.
He was.
Oh man, but yeah, I really enjoyed that. I think you really got something special going right there.
Well, we'll see tonight and next Sunday. We'll see how it turns out. Well, it's been fun so far.
I can't speak on how you grew up, but me growing up in the woods in North Alabama, pretty rural areas, we grew up on stories like that. And, a lot of us even had some experience where we couldn't necessarily explain what we'd seen. And, you'd sit around the campfire with your buddies and you would talk about different things y'all had all seen, swap stories. And so I love the format. I really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's kind of like what I'm trying to go after, like you're sitting around a campfire telling ghost stories and weird experiences. Hey, Fishkeeper done good last week in the chat room. I ain't had a chance to tell him. I tried to, but I didn't have a chance. Fishkeeper is a guy on that other chat room I'll tell you about. Yeah, and he's been on here. Last week, I thought he made some really good comments last week. He likes to pick at me. He's a Michigan State fan, guys, so look over him.
I don't disrespect that. Saban coach there too.
Yep, we got Saban from there, or from that area. So yeah,
but Stephen Hicks is asking what time is the show tonight.
Now, guys, y'all all have to remember I had to work around these gentlemen's schedule, but tonight the guy happened to fall in pretty close to what I wanted to do. It's going to be Sunday at 8 o'clock. I can see him right now with a little black magic marker drawing stuff and knocking some teeth out.
Yeah, but that was for different reasons, Spencer. We're not going to talk about that here. I don't know if the statute of limitations is out on some of that.
I hope so.
Me too. Probably don't need to be on YouTube.
Well, let me tell you for sure. I think it's going to be 8 o'clock Eastern. Let me see. Jeez. I have to go out of this, but I can find this again. I got something to say. Just for AT, leave me freaking alone. Jeez.
AT blowing you up?
Yeah, he thinks it's funny. Wait till I zap his ass next time.
Well, we know to just go to Muscle Shoals and dress like Bigfoot. He won't come out of the house.
No, he sure won't. No, I'm sorry. It is 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern. I know it's kind of late, but that was the schedule I had to work around. So I do know it's kind of late. It'll be late on me, but hey, if it's a good show, we'll stay on as long as we can.
Well, I'll be in the chat. I'm looking forward to it.
Are you gonna be in your pajamas?
More than likely.
Good. I'll keep that image with me when I'm talking.
Yep. That way you'll look more terrified with the stories that are coming out.
All right. Hell, we've waited on Lucid long enough, I believe. We might as well get started.
Can't keep a star sitting too long.
Yep, you can't keep the star. All right. But no, guys, tonight, 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern, we got a Bigfoot researcher. We'll just see what happens from there. He should be a lot of fun. But anyways, next week, I was going to try to get in touch with my guy to confirm, but I'm hoping to get him on Sunday. It may be Saturday, but I will come on Tuesday night and announce exactly when that's going to be. And that's our, I call him a nationally known guy. He's worked with a lot of big names in Bigfoot. So he's gracious enough to come on. So I'll let you know when that's happening. But anyways, all right. Staff, I am excited about this. I really want to hear what you got to say on our defensive
what
side.
Lucian's got to say, to be honest with you. my optimism's through the roof right now. So, I may overlook something.
Well, that's true. I always like his takes. Well, I'm going to go this route then while we're waiting. I seen something about where we offered, again, Martin Short, a linebacker out of Georgia. I think he's probably more or less leaning toward that side, but we did reoffer.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, who exactly is, after? And it's a coach named Scott Huff from Washington that he come down here with DeBoer. So I looked him up just to see. So what I found on him, Scott Huff, and this is from Football Scope, Offensive Line Coach of the Year for the Washington Huskies. Right below it is 24/7 Sports, Scott Huff, Running Game Coordinator for the Washington Huskies. So, I didn't read a whole lot about, stats and stuff like that. But and I think when there was some coaching changes going on a couple years back, Washington kept Scott Huff, and he was the only one that they kept. So that tells me something about the gentleman. So
yeah, definitely.
I'm looking forward to a better running game this year, is what I'm getting at. And it seems like you to be an offensive coach line of the year for the Washington Huskies, and now you're down here where the bigger boys play.
Mm-hmm.
This is really going to be an interesting offensive line, I believe.
And not only that, but brought a center from that team that performed as well as any center in the country last year. Building on, we had our guy transfer. Who cares? But now we got this guy coming in and can build around that. And, man, you put him next to Jaden Roberts, good night. We're going to have some fun. I think our offensive line is going to be so much better, even in the first year, because we give up, statistically, 49 sacks, which put us in, the bottom 5 or 10 in the country last year.
Yeah, and if we could kept telling him,
very, very important to start on building with that right there.
Yeah, I've always said it you can ask Spencer from day one that I ever come on these shows. Offensive line is it. If you don't have an offensive line or defensive line, you're suspect.
Tennessee Fifth-Keeper said your voice reminds him of Jim Ross.
Yeah, that is probably a good thing. I don't know who Jim Ross is
Well, let me just fill you in. Growing up in the 90s, WWE, little Attitude Era wrestling, Jim Ross was the best commentator in wrestling. Didn't matter where. I watched more WCW. I'm a Southern guy. But I watched more WCW, but Jim Ross was the greatest commentator. So I would take it as a compliment myself, because he had the ability, when a guy would debut, a new character, a new wrestler or whatever, the way he would pump them up and describe them made you want to root for them or hate them, depending on where he leaned. And he could paint a picture and give a background when they didn't necessarily have one, and you felt like you knew the character. So I would take that compliment.
Let's see. I've been told I talk like, Jim Ross. I've been told I talk like, Wimp Sanderson.
Wimp Sanderson, that's
Yep. I got one of those. John Wayne. Man, I tell you what, I'm just gonna sit here and do sign language and be who I am. I tell you what, let's go ahead and get this gentleman on.
Sign language.
Yeah, let's see what I sound like. The man from the final whistle does a great job. Love him to death. I do. Looking forward to having him on here. Let's just go ahead and get him on. I'm not going to treat him like a wrestler and try to build a story about him. He's just a good guy all the way around, anyways.
What's happening, gentlemen? How you doing?
What's going on, Lucian? How's it going, bro?
Just over here dealing with the weather and whatnot. How y'all doing?
Doing good. Yeah, our weather just dropped back off a little bit. Now it's starting to get a little colder again. Get used to it, and then it comes back around.
You ain't lying about that.
I ain't too far from you. Hang on just a minute, Lucian. See Bama. Is that who I'm thinking it is? It looks like it. Anyways, welcome, see Bama. I'm sorry to put a hold on this, guys. Spencer, I do have your phone number, brother. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, he called you an asshole. Fair
Don't
enough.
you just love it? Fair enough.
Oh, yeah. I've been called worse by better people. That's what you just look at that like, you know?
Yeah.
Lucian,
All right, so
what
anyway.
you got on your mind right now, defensively, with Womack coming in? Where's your excitement level? Because I know where mine's at, and I may need you to bring me down just a little bit.
I don't think I'm gonna bring you down at all. I think I'm actually gonna probably maybe excite you and maybe everybody that's listening a little bit more. You got to understand, Womack comes from a new style of a new look defense, the 4-2-5 called the Swarm. It's been successful on the levels that he's coached at, and it's been very successful. It's very fast. It's a very fast defense. It's causes a lot of turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
The offense has a hard time getting a fix on what the defense is trying to do because they can blitz from so many different ways, and they can disguise what they're doing pretty much every play in and out. Now, guys, where this is going to be awesome for our team is because we have so many different players that are what we call hybrid athletes. They can play multiple different positions. So instead of your prototypical, 300-pound defensive line this year, you won't see that. You'll see maybe 1 to 2 300-pounders. Then you're going to see maybe a guy that's around like 265 to 270, 280.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll see on the other side, that'll be probably your ace pass rusher. Well, now who that's going to be, that's what I'm excited about because we have an open outside linebacker position probably for the first time in a couple of years. We don't know what we have going in. And guys, that's exciting. We got a lot of 5 stars, a lot of 4 stars. I mean, dudes that are just athletic.
Let me interrupt that to back up some of your points, because when Womack, who was at South Alabama, who brought them to their first 10-win season in program history, by the way, and also last year went 7-6 and won a bowl game for the first time in school history. So the guys had success at small levels that's hard to build upon. Because, I mean, you already know how hard it is to recruit and play in the state of Alabama. This is a football-heavy country right here, part of the country. And for him to have that kind of level of success at a university that wasn't used to it, I'm already excited about the prospects. He's worked with our head coach before at different stops. And the thing about it, too, you can go statistically off of what he's done defensively, and they back up our points. You've got stop rate, which is a percentage of defensive drives that end in either a punt, a turnover, or a turnover on downs. They had a stop rate of 71.4%, which was good for 18th in the country. They had total defense. They give up 313 yards per game, which was good for 15th. You got scoring defense, which they gave up 21 points per game, which was good for 26th. You've got third down defense, 34%, which is good for 27th in the country. And then takeaways, 22, which was good for 26th in the country. So statistically, he had a very small school competing in a top 25 level on defense. If that don't get you excited as an Alabama fan, imagine what he's going to do with these guys.
Well, and the other thing to add to that too is one thing that's very important in coaching and player development is the relationship.
Yes.
Womack has a deep relationship with every single guy that they've hired, whether they've coached at Indiana or at another smaller school, university, Fresno State, Southern Alabama, wherever that may be. He has had a relationship with these coaches, which is important because they already know how he acts. They already know how he acts and vice versa. So that's going to be important to getting these players to the next level in this defense.
Agreed wholeheartedly. Now, when you were talking about that position that like Chris Braswell and Dallas Turner played, I think what did we call that back in the day under Saban? What was that? Was it Mike?
That'd be your will.
Your will.
Yeah.
Okay. So in this defense, I believe it's called a bandit. Is that correct? Is that not?
That'd be your wolf.
Yeah, bandit's gonna be your defensive end, like your Justin Abogbe, guys like that.
Well, in this defense is kind of interesting. You'll have your bandit, you'll have your defensive tackle, you'll have your nose, and then you'll have on the other side what's called your wolf. Your wolf will be your pass rusher.
And well, the thing about his defense, from what I've looked up, the wolf is a 2 utility player, like you talked about the versatility of this roster and being good at multiple places. They use that guy, the wolf, sometimes in coverage and sneak another guy in. And fairly interesting what I've seen over the week, kind of looking into it.
That's why it's going to be interesting to see who actually plays there. Because they're going to have to there's going to be so many different formations, because the two, I'd say, the most important positions on this defense are not even on the line. I'd say they're the hybrid safeties in the rover and the other safety, and I would say your 2 middle linebackers, because your inside linebacker, one of them is going to have gap assignment. I'm going to say that's probably going to be Deontay Lawson.
Yeah.
And your Mike in this defense is what's going to be what Jahad Campbell does, is more of a coverage type of linebacker. Now, what that's going to allow us to do is we're going to be able to blitz from so many different positions.
Yes.
And it'll allow us to utilize Campbell's pass rush ability, Lawson's pass rush ability, as well with the other guys too. And you can't forget LT Overton's in town too. So
that's exactly right. And he has a size at that bandit position. Not bandit, but
yeah, he'll play the bandit.
He's got a size that is very similar to what Womack used at South Alabama, and I think he would fit that very well.
Oh yeah, I guarantee you he'll probably be the starting bandit.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I agree with that.
Even if he does add 10 pounds, like I think they probably will put on him. I mean, they'll still leave him at 275, 280. I mean, he'll still be light.
Oh, yeah. 10 pounds of muscle with an athlete like that, you're not going to see a big difference in his agility and speed.
No, and I think that's going to be what's going to be key, is can they figure out if they can figure out how to combination and stop people from running the ball inside on us, then this defense is going to have at least 20-plus turnovers this year.
Yes.
Because that's all that is key to this defense. You stop the run, because there's going to be no way that you're going to be able to run offensive routes with the DBs and the coverage that's going to be on the field, as well as avoid our pass rush. It's not going to be possible.
So you're thinking in this lineup, I mean, bandit, we're kind of leaning towards like an LT Overton, more than likely, but you never know. All right. And then Sting, which is your weak side linebacker. You're thinking probably maybe Deontay Lawson, somebody of that ilk. Because Jahad Campbell to me looks more like a Mike.
Yeah, Sting will be Lawson.
Yeah,
actually, there's actually going to be we're actually getting ready to come out with an article here. I think we're putting the finishing touches on it on the BamaStandard.com about a little bit more in depth about the 4-2-5 and what could possibly happen to it, and especially player personnel wise, because you got to understand too, this is going to be a new coaching staff, and these guys like to rotate on both sides of the football. So defensively, we're going to see a lot of guys in different positions.
And I love that. I absolutely love that, because that constant movement can give you different alignments and different looks depending on what offenses you're facing. And not only that, but key injuries at times, you'll have guys that are versatile and can move around. So that's something we didn't get to see a lot of under a Pete Golden. And we've seen a little bit under Steele, It's first year, but we're going to get more of that this year.
Yeah, because I think they're going to want to get more younger players involved, because the more they rotate, the fresher they can be, the more active they can be as far as attacking what they want to do. They're not going to get an offense is going to be able to key on what they do, because if we're switching personnel and we're able to keep them from running the ball, we can just keep rotating guys out, pass rushers, DBs, even inside linebackers. I think we're going to rotate at linebacker just because we are going to have the depth and we are going to have the athleticism. I mean,
agree.
you look across our defensive. I mean, even on our defensive line, we have straight athletes.
Mhm.
They're not like oversized, like big guys. They're just like pure athletes. And I watched a video. Curtis Perry, he was working out. He looks good. He looks real light on his feet. I think this might be the year, especially in this defense. He could eat.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I seen that same video and it looked like his footwork had improved astronomically already. So I don't know who's working with him right now, but they're doing a fantastic job. I'm assuming Freddie Roach is doing it, and they're doing a fantastic job because his footwork looked fantastic, man. I was excited as soon as I seen it. My next question to you, the Husky, which was the star position in previous years for Alabama, which Malachi Moore manned last year. You think we'll see more of the same with Malachi in that same spot this year?
I think we will, just because the rover position has to play a little bit more in coverage, and they have to be a little bit more vertical. So I think that'll be probably a Tony Mitchell type, just because you have to be physical at the run, but at the same time, you have to be able to go vertical and side to side. So I would probably say Malachi's probably going to be, and plus he has experience in that position. You know, it's going to be a little bit different from what he's used to, but like I said, he's the old head on the team now.
Yeah.
So you know he's the general of them troops, and I think that's the position he's gonna lock down for us this season. No. And he needs to be an impact player this year.
I agree. He will have to step up and be a big time player. Because he has the experience to lead the other young guys and kind of put them around, but he will be the quarterback on the field for us a lot of times with his experience and being able to look and see and put guys in the right positions and make sure they're where they're at. So yeah, I agree. Now with the rover position, which is what, strong safety, or what, kind of where Jalen Key played some last year.
Yeah, that's what I was saying with that's probably going to be your Tony Mitchell.
I like that. Tony Mitchell's a physical cat too. His athleticism is phenomenal, but he's physical like a linebacker at times. So I mean, he's a guy, when you were talking about versatile players that can do multiple things, Tony Mitchell's a guy that's far up there on that list for me when I think about those types of players.
Yeah, for sure. And you got also depth at that position. You know, you got Bray Hubbard back there. You know, he could play either a free safety or that rover position too. And plus you got some true freshmen, which in my opinion, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the secondary, because there's multiple guys that can play corner, but there's also multiple guys that can play over top too, and that can play the slot. So it's going to be interesting to see come springtime. And it's great that all these DBs are already enrolled. They're already getting to know the system. It's brand new for everybody. Yes. So it's kind of like nobody really has an advantage right now other than the guys that have been in the program and that have college football ready bodies.
And so that is exciting for me, because with nobody really having that much experience in it and it being new to the whole team, what do we as fans get to see? Because we may get to see guys come forward that we weren't expecting or talking about, you know. So it's very exciting when the door is pretty much open for every spot to see who's coming in where and how they'll be used in the depth rotation and everything. Man, I've been so excited. I've been studying it all week. Me and you, of course, talk back and forth, and you brought me to attention on a few things through text message, and I went back and was looking, and you know, like your rover spot, the big thing for them, a lot of times we can see some single high safety in certain coverages, but a lot of times they're playing closer to the formation with more man coverage responsibilities. So I think a Tony Mitchell is perfect in that instance.
Yeah, because a lot of those positions that they're going to line a player up in, it's a tight end a lot of times. Tony Mitchell's a bigger body dude. He's strong, but he is also good in coverage. And he's been working out with Damani Jackson, which, guys, the dude's from USC. I'm telling you what, he's good.
Yes,
I
he
know
is.
everyone's like, man, he's West Coast guy. Well, I can tell you what, the West Coast guy can play some ball.
Yes, he can. Went back and seen some film of his, by the way, and he's very disciplined. And that's a key thing. He's coachable. When you've got a guy that's coachable and his talent is through the ceiling, I mean, the sky's the limit for a guy like that. So,
and the thing about it is too, it's important too. He's bought into the program. He was at the basketball game with Jalen Milroe and Malachi Moore the other night, and our athletic director came up and shook all three of their hands, and I think that's a very, very good sign right there.
Me too. I love the way the staff is getting out. I'm seeing pictures every few hours of these guys on the move, just constantly staying in contact with guys. Constantly talking to people, re-upping with kids that's already committed. They're hanging out with them. A lot of these young recruits are already already supporting Alabama athletics in different venues. You see them at the basketball games. We got a guy coming back, Milroe, who was a Heisman hopeful this year, and he put on a camp this weekend and was out there shaking hands, signing autographs for all these kids. We got good leadership on this team. We got guys that are about the university. And I think that's something we have lacked in the last few years in certain departments. I think you would agree with me from conversations we've had in the past. These guys are bought in.
Definitely. And that's the important thing. As long as they're bought in, that is what truly matters.
Definitely. And and I'm only going to cover this for a minute or two because I've covered it for the last 2 weeks. But, when everybody thought the sky was falling and guys were transferring, those are guys that ain't bought in. And you're not going to get the most out of guys that aren't 100% Alabama. I would rather have a 4-star that's going to work hard and be bought in than a 5-star that you're only going to get 75% out of, and his eyes are always looking somewhere else. I don't think you'd disagree there.
No, I wouldn't. But on the other hand, after listening to what OJ Howard is and after doing some thinking, it's good that they left. Yes. And I'm not exactly mad at them if they did, because, they made a commitment to, Nick Saban, the University of Alabama, and obviously that was a drastic change. And, for some people, a lot of people like to have that comfort on knowing what is going to come next. They expect some stuff. So,
well, football's just different than what we're used to anymore. The way the portal has opened up and the way the NIL is used, and it's kind of the Wild West. Nobody really knows anymore. And you can't blame guys that are going after money. You can't blame guys that are doing things that are best suited for their future. I'm not mad at none of these guys. Appreciate you coming. I wish them well. We've got other guys we're focused on now. We got guys that stayed, that are bought in, that are leaders. Let's rock and roll. Roll Tide, baby.
Yeah, and it's gonna be fun because everything's new. It's gonna be some new energy. So I don't understand why every Alabama fan isn't so excited.
I don't understand it either, because all you've got to do is 5 minutes of Googling on most of these coaching staffs, most of these hires, and go back and look and see what they've done and what they're getting involved in right now. And if you ain't excited right now, I don't know what to tell you.
Exactly, because every position coach that they hired right now, especially on the offensive side, I would say on the offensive side is a home run, an absolute home run. It's an upgrade at every position, especially the offensive line, like you alluded to before. You not only bring in the Joe Moore, the winning coach, you bring in the center that anchored that line.
Yes.
You partner him with two of the meanest returning guards in the nation.
Man.
Plus, you take the talent we have in our offensive line room right now. Now, everyone's like, oh, we might need to go get some people out of the portal. Guys, I'm here to say we're not probably going to get somebody out of the portal unless we go into spring ball and we have an apparent open position that is actually hurting. Yes. Right now, I feel that we have depth at every position.
I agree.
There's going to be competition, and that's going to keep the game fresh for players, which in turn is going to mean great football.
And there
iron. And
nothing's changed. to circle back to what we've said, with the whole new coaching staff and offensive and defensive philosophies, nobody's guaranteed nothing right now. So every single guy that's there is going to be fighting hard to prove they deserve a spot.
And
that iron sharpens iron is 100% correct, because you're going to get the best out of these guys.
And two, like, guys, we got Ryan Williams back on board.
Lord.
Do you understand? Like, I'm not even going to take anything away from Washington's offense, what they have this year. But what we're going to have in this upcoming season as far as firepower, man, I'm just going to tell you what. It's going to be great to be an Alabama Crimson Tide fan. I'm just telling you what.
I agree. And Ryan Williams is, and like you said, not going to take away from anything Washington did. They made it to a national championship game, and they got some huge statistical years out of, especially 2 wide receivers. Ryan Williams is a better overall athlete and receiver coming out of high school than any of those guys were. Imagine what this coach and this offensive staff is going to be able to do with a Ryan Williams. Why do you think he come back? Why do you think he decided to re-up with us? Because when he met with the offensive coordinator, Grubb, and he got to talking and they told him how they were going to use him, he couldn't walk away from that. He's going to eat in this offense.
And honestly, it's not just I'm not even going to downplay this at all. It's not just Ryan Williams.
No.
Rico Scott is on for his official visit. I seen him post a picture with DeBoer. He's bought in. That dude is exciting, people.
Yes,
I'm telling you, him and Amir Jefferson, we're not going to see him till the summertime ball, but I'm telling you, when those two hit campus, there's going to be some more firepower added. Now, on top of that, everyone forgives Bubba Hampton. I'm going to tell you something. Whichever side of the ball that dude ends up playing, he's going to be explosive.
Yes, he's going to be a difference maker wherever he's at because of his athleticism.
We still have people that are upperclassmen that haven't even given a chance to go off yet. Kendrick Law, Kobe Prentice, these two are going to absolutely go off. Emmanuel Henderson, guys, I'm telling you what, Emmanuel Henderson might be the breakout player of the year because people just don't know.
I like that prediction.
People just don't know. And I think on as far as special teams go, I mean, you're gonna have just an absolute smorgasbord who you want to be back there. I mean, because we got way too many athletes to make somebody that is a starter. Like we don't need a starting cornerback or a starting wide receiver returning kicks and punts this year. No. We got too much talent for that.
No, we've got way too much talent and way too many athletes sitting out there to be using a guy like that.
And speed too. Like, you got to understand too. Like somebody's saying in the chat, Alabama Tide, Justice Haynes. I mean, these running backs. The thing about Huff coming too, it's not just the Joe Morta winning as far as passing. He's had, I think, 5 seasons at Washington where he's had 1,000-yard running back. So that tells you the dude can not only pass block, but he's making sure his running back eats too.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, let's face it. Washington had a talented running back room. They don't have the talent that we have.
No, they didn't have a Justice Haynes.
Are about to be able just to deal with. It's just going to be crazy.
Yeah, they didn't have a Justice Haynes. They didn't have a Jam Miller. They didn't have guys of that kind of talent and level.
You got to think too. Everybody's sleeping and forgot that we got Richard Young.
Yeah. Yeah. Richard Young don't get talked about enough, man.
And he
didn't get used enough. He didn't get the way we played last year at times. A lot of our receivers and a lot of our running back depth didn't get put on the didn't get displayed.
And that's the thing. Our tight ends are about to be just.
Well, you know, Richard Young is the reason why Justice Haynes is here. That's the whole reason. Because he wants to play with Richard Young, from what I understood.
I like that. And like you just talked about, Lucian, our tight end room. Good Lord. Like, some of the best athletes in the country at tight end, and we're stacked right now. I mean, what is there not to be excited about? So we're going to improve dramatically in the passing game. Our running game is going to eat because our offensive line will get better. We're going to see less sacks, which gives our team more opportunities to extend and complete drives. How are you not excited?
I mean, you have to be excited about numbers when I read them like this. In the last 2 seasons, Washington's offensive line gave up 19 sacks.
Combined?
Yes.
Good night.
We gave up 49 this season, y'all.
This season.
Well, I was telling everybody last week, or was it Tuesday night, the center that transferred from Washington out of 630-something plays, I believe, in the past, only 1 sack was contributed to him. And everybody's wanting to, they're worried about him being undersized.
Yeah.
I mean, what else can you want from a guy?
And let's don't forget now that he went out there and absolutely manhandled a good Texas defensive line coached by one of the best defensive line coaches in the country, Bo Davis, that all Alabama fans are familiar with. And Washington's offensive line absolutely whipped their defensive line. And they are a powerful, big, athletic, one of the best units in the country. And they went out and actually dominated them. So I'm not worried about his size coming to Alabama. I've seen with my own eyes what that man can do. I'm not worried about that.
Nope.
Hey, as long as you can hike the ball back more than 2 feet in the air, I'm good with you.
Yeah, as long as you don't look like a bowler, like our previous one. I bet he's a hell of a trick shot artist, though. I'm going to give him that. Behind the legs, roll it, bam. But, all right, let's jump back on the defense here. Now, here's where we're going to differ a lot in what we see, and that's cornerback. Because there's a starting boundary cornerback in this defense, and there's a field cornerback. The boundary corner takes the short side of the field from the hash mark to the sidelines, while the field corner covers the wide side from the hash mark from where the ball is spotted. It's a stark difference to what we're used to seeing that played exclusively left or right. So being able to move these athletes around and cover different spots, it messes with an offense because you can't key in and go, all right, say last year. We know where Kool-Aid's going to be most of the time, right? So quarterback knows where to look. Well, depending on what we're calling, that guy could be any number of places. So that's going to be in a quarterback's mind and an offensive coordinator's mind. So I love that. What are your thoughts on that, Lucian?
I mean, that's what defenses do now to confuse the quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to look at NFL defenses. Top defenses are going to confuse the quarterback. And I know everybody likes the whole island corners, like leave your guys on an island. But let's face it, good offensive coordinators can get their guys open. All they got to do is run a motion, and that's already going to mess up your defense. So especially with these younger guys coming in with playing as much highly competitive 7-on-7, they're already used to being on islands everywhere on the field. So it's not going to really matter to them.
Because a lot of times I don't build up a lot of things in 7-on-7, but where you can build up guys is wide receivers and defensive backs.
Exactly.
Because they're in so many one-on-one situations. And when you see guys at a high level competing and beating some of the best in the country one-on-one, come on, man. Like that guy right there is ready to play. And we've got a bunch of them.
And you got to think, all of our DBs are on campus right now.
Mm-hmm.
The only people that aren't on campus are 3 wide receivers.
Yep.
And I think that's it. Oh, I'm not sure when Noah Carter is going to join, when he's going to enroll. I mean, other than that, I think everybody's already enrolled, which means they're already in the weightlifting program.
Let me ask you a question. Noah Carter, a great athlete at defensive end, but could you possibly see him playing something like tight end?
I mean, it's going to depend on how everything shakes out. And honestly, it's going to depend on how he comes in. Like, I'm not sure about him right now because he's not on campus.
Right.
So I haven't really seen anything of him as far as working out, so I think it's a very, very great thing that he's coming. I'm excited to see what he's going to add to the program. I could see him, he's definitely going to be playing edge, Bama Tide. But I could also see, if we get hurt for depth and if we have some injuries, I mean, he could be possibly switched to a tight end if that's something they could see, because I mean, he does have 10 plus touchdowns in on the offensive side of the football. So,
and we forget we've got guys like Keon Keeley and stuff that we didn't even mention yet.
Well, and that's kind of the key thing too. You got 3 redshirt freshmen in Quay Russo, Keon Keeley, and Yanze Pierre that didn't even hit the field. You also got a redshirt sophomore in Jeremiah Alexander, who hasn't really got to see the field, and you got Keanu Coate and Quandarius Robinson too. So you got some guys in there. There's going to be a lot of competition for that those top two edge rushing positions.
I see a comment here from B Jammin. He said, keep in mind, Washington played Pac-12 defenses. Not saying anything bad about what DeBoer did there, just saying it's Pac-12 teams known for their defense. Well, I think the tide of that had changed a lot when guys like Dan Lanning got to Oregon, who had played under experienced coaches or coached under experienced coaches like a Saban, like a Kirby Smart. And defensively, he's changed what Oregon has been identified as. A lot of people never looked at Oregon defensively and took them serious, and now they do. This guy's had a lot of success against Oregon. He's 3-0 against Dan Lanning, and his offense was wide open against that team just like they were against Texas. We can't downplay what Texas defense looked like this year. Not at all.
No, and I think the thing you got to understand as far as him, playing the West Coast offenses and defenses. Yeah, they don't really value defenses, but you got to look at the positions that we got from. We got a wide receiver coach, which is something we've really needed. We got an upgrade in tight ends coach. Their tight end was a little bit more put in use, is a little bit more active in their offense. Their offensive line, like we've already hit on it, is a definite upgrade. So, it's not really something you got to look at what they did against, Pac-10. It's like what they can do for us in our system with our players.
Right.
Not so much as comparing what they did back then. There are coaches now. You got to look to the future. You can't really look at the past on what these guys did as far as, against their competition.
You got to allow them room to grow and expand to their new, bigger spots. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of these guys outperformed or exceeded their expectations at smaller schools. And to me, that's exciting because what do they do with more talent and more they've got more things at their disposal, I guess you'd say. And so a guy that's a creative and can get the most out of a little bit of talent, what's he going to do with a lot of talent?
And that's the thing. It's not just a lot of talent. It's a lot of depth because every position that I just named off, like we'll bring it back to the corners. Just for instance, you got Damani Jackson, like on one side, he's used to playing big time college football, but at the same time, he's also used to being that in a defense where he's having to go side to side, like he's used to doing that. So you bring in somebody that's got experience in that. You got Devontae Smith. He's got experience in just playing college football, not so much game experience, but he's got experience in, how the game's played, game speed, and where he just needs to be in certain coverages. You got Tony Mitchell. He's got a year on all these guys as far as his body's been in college longer. He's been studying defenses and whatnot. And hold on, what is this guy saying? Damani Jackson. No. I don't think so, Alabama Todd. I think he's going to be a corner. I don't think.
I got a question.
I think he's going to be a safety.
Go ahead.
Do we even have a kicker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that's Van's favorite position.
We signed like the number one kicker, and I want to say in last year's class or the class before that, and he's just been kind of waiting behind Will, but the kid's talented.
We actually had a question. We had a question addressed to you, LaShawn, from Spencer. He said, how great do you think Milroe can be when he has a great center? Ready coverages, seat, rushers, etc. So I guess he's saying being able to call out what he sees, being able to snap and complete the play, and knowing he can trust him to do a good job blocking. What do you think that gives Milroe
I mean, I think Milrose got a lot. He's got a lot of things he's going to have to do this season.
Yes,
The number one thing he's going to have to do is develop a great relationship with his center. And I would actually belay that, and I'd actually say the important thing he's going to have to do is he's just going to have to study. He's going to have to learn how to recognize coverages, blitz packages, players walking up on him. He's going to have to do a lot of what I like to call is in between work, not as much football as everyone would think, like not as much throwing as everybody ever thinks he needs to do. There's nothing wrong with the way he throws the ball.
No,
it's his timing, it's when he does things, and it's how he does things, and it's his decision making. And all that is just repetition and learning and getting in the film room.
We've seen it in certain games last year, and when he was comfortable with what was going on and he trusted what was going on around him, he can throw as well as anybody. I don't think his arm is in question. Now, I do think sometimes he holds on to the ball a little too long, and that can cause problems and get the O-line blamed for things not necessarily their fault at times. He does have issues holding on to the ball, but that's an easy fix. That's not – I don't have a red flag on that necessarily.
And I would say too, Grubb, he's a quarterback kind of guru. So for the first time in a while, I'd probably say since Dan Enos was in the locker room, we have a quarterback coach now.
Yes.
And I think that right there in itself is going to put our quarterbacks in a more of elite class. It's going to clean up a lot of their mistakes, a lot of the little things that you wouldn't see a normal Alabama quarterback make. I think they're going to be a little bit more responsible with the ball. And I think the offense is going to be tighter. It's going to be a lot more than we're used to seeing. There's going to be a lot more options, but I think it's going to be a lot easier for the players and when it's all said and done.
And I'm going to say this too, to reiterate, Milroe did not trust his offensive line, and it would show at times because he was not comfortable in the pocket, and he would try to move around, throw on the run, and we all know that a lot of times you can't get your feet set, you can't make the most accurate throw. And there's just little things, just little bitty things like that can be worked on and knocked out no problem. Now, we do have another question for you from the chat from Jeff Stapleton. He said, Lucian, Woodruff, Bama or the Dogs? Where do you see him going?
I don't know about that one, guys.
I hadn't got any crystal ball, any kind of hot takes that says he's leaning one way or the other that I've heard necessarily. He's a great player. Would love to have him as part of the, rotation and depth at Alabama, but yeah, I really don't know either. I was looking in, I told you I've been studying a little bit. Me and you've been talking a lot about the defense back and forth. And I noticed too, last year at South Alabama, the Jaguars deployed a nickel package or 5 defensive backs like 99.8% of the time they were on the field. Which I think ended up being like 803 out of 813 snaps on the defensive side of the ball. They were nickel, a type of nickel coverage, with 5 DBs. Whereas Alabama deployed nickel 83% of the time, but we also went dime about 12% of the time, which was 6 DBs, which is where your money position got incorporated a lot. And so with 5 DBs and the way they use them and give them certain spots, there's less, in my opinion, there's less big gaps for players to make big opportunities on the offense. That defense smothers out passing game by being over the top and kind of condensing the field a little bit. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're able to funnel an offense into a certain direction, whether you want to do it to the left side or to the right side of the field. And it's gonna be fun to watch because the defensive line is gonna just, as an offense, you gotta look at like how are you gonna block this? No one's ever seen it done before, and they're about to do it with the top talent in the nation. Yeah, we lost 30 players, but this is Alabama. We stack talent everywhere.
Yeah, we got another question for you right now. It's why did Little, I'm assuming Earl Little, leave to Florida State? Do you have any idea why he may have went to Florida State? Do you think it was coaching concerns, or was it an NIL type thing where he was offered more money? Do you think he thought he had a better ability to get on the field quicker? What do you see from that? What do you think?
I would probably say that it was multiple things. It was him being unsure who his defensive back coach was going to be, him being a little bit hurt by, how the rotation and whatnot broke out. And I also think to the other side of that, you got to look at who Florida State already had. They had a couple of his high school teammates transfer there. Marvin Jones Jr. was one of his best friends coming out of high school, went to Heritage High School together, or Plantation. And he was at Georgia, and he transferred to Florida State. So, there's a bunch of different things when it comes to the transfer portal that, people don't really necessarily look at just because they really don't know. I'm not saying that it was right of him to leave. I mean, he was one of my favorite players. I'm not even gonna lie.
Oh, I know you talked about him a lot.
But it is. I wish him the best of luck. And hopefully we get to see him.
I was going over some more film this week, and I noticed that South Alabama statistically ranked 14th nationally in pressure rate, despite the fact that they only really blitzed 18% of the time. And that impressed me. That was really, really impressive. So,
they
ranked like 124th in the country in blitz rate, but they got that kind of pressure.
To further answer that question, which I just wanted to confirm it, the real reason I would probably say that he went there is because his high school coach is now the defensive back coach, which is Patrick Surtain Sr. And I am positive that had a lot to do with it. A lot to do with it. I mean, that's PS1. We all know how the PS2 did for us. So I'm just saying,
no doubt, and what he's done for Denver since he's been there. But
I would definitely say that had a lot to do with that decision.
That sounds plausible to me as well. But what I was just saying is the fact that South Alabama ranked 14th nationally in pressure rate, despite the fact that they only blitzed 18% of the time. That's impressive. Like, you have to, as a defensive guy that I know you are, and I look more towards that side of the ball as well, that's really, really impressive to me to have that type of success without blitzing that often.
Because it's stunning.
Yes.
Well, what they're doing is they're moving their defensive pieces like chessboards around the pieces. So they don't really need to blitz. And when they do blitz, it doesn't really seem like they're blitzing because, okay, let's say you want to blitz your sting, right? In some packages, you're still going to only have 4 people. So technically that's not going to count as a blitz. You're going to blitz that sting, but at the same time, maybe that wolf drops, or you got that bandit drops, or he covers the flats on one side or the other.
Which is going to be so telling of why those athletic guys that get the wolf and the bandit positions, I cannot wait to see who's going to man those positions.
Because you're going to need to be a wolf and a bandit, you're going to have to be able to track in space. So that's why I would say that's going to be your LT, your Curtis Perry, your Jordan Raynaud, and your Jeremiah Beeman types. And then your wolf, like I said, that's going to be your Quandarius Robinson, Keon Keeley, Yanze Pierre, and Keanu Coat. Now, see, I have a little bit different thinking on what they're going to do with Russo, just because of where he played at Carver. Like,
I agree with that because when I've looked back, he kind of does suit more the bandit style than he does the wolf style.
No. I think he's going to be the Mike.
Really? Now that's interesting. Explain to me why you think so.
Well, if you look back where he actually played in high school, he played up. He played a lot on the line, but he also played in the middle. And a lot of the swarm defense is, you have to be a decisive at getting to the football. And Quay Russo is very decisive. And in this defense, we have one of those right now. But at the same time, Quay Russo is very fast and he's very physical and he can cover. That sounds a lot like Jihad Campbell to me. Plus, with him being long and how big he is, it's gonna be interesting. I think because a lot of people are saying that you're gonna see a Jeremiah Alexander in the middle, whereas I like that, but in a 4-2-5 type of defense, I think you probably see more of a Quay Russo than a Jeremiah Alexander back there. And I like the fact that the dude is just top heavy mean. He just looks like an Alabama linebacker.
And to back up what you're saying, his decision making is so from the high school level up. Like if you followed him at all, man, just split second decision making. He has a nose for the football, and you can't teach instinct. You just can't.
No, you can't. And he is a guy just got a knack to get to the football.
Yes,
and
I think you're forecasting him at the Mike position. I kind of still think he could be in play over at the Wolf. Either way, I want to see him on the field because of what I think he can have
with the depth. I think with the depth that we have at Wolf is why he's going to be used more at Mike.
Did you even mention Jay-Sean Ross?
No, because I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be also a Mike too.
Mm-hmm. I kind of see the same thing out of him
because your Mike has to be he's going to have to be a great pass rusher, yes, but he's also going to have to be fast and good and effective in space, and that's Jay-Sean Ross too. And I would also say Caden Jones. Now Sterling Dixon, I see more Sterling Dixon, Debo. That's Deontay Lawson. That's just a little Deontay Lawson to me.
Yes,
for real. Like he is going to be cerebral in the run. He's going to be able to discern where the players are going, and they're going to be able to utilize him anywhere, which is just going to be just very key for us.
Icebox.
All right, guys, if you wouldn't mind, I know we've got some people in here that have recently come over, and they don't know everything that you guys are talking about. And what I'm saying is, on the defensive side, would you give them a quick rundown on what the Mike does, the Star, the Wolf, the Bandit, all these names that you've been hollering out, who they are, where they're at, and what they do? Can you just give a quick rundown of those things?
So let me pull it up real quick. So
I'll start with some, and you can come in with some. Bandit is going to be your edge, defensive end. Think your Justin Abogbe types. Your Wolf is similar to what we used to call a Sam linebacker, which is where Dallas Turner was. You've got your Husky, which is your Star, what we used to call a Star, which was where Malachi Moore.
No, that's the Rover.
No, Rover's going to be your strong safety, like Jalen Key, is it not?
No, that's the other way around.
Now, strong side is the left side.
The Rover would be where Malachi is going to play.
Okay, so Jalen Key's spot would have been about where the Husky was last year.
Yeah, Jalen Key would have played the Husky.
Okay. And your Mike is going to be your traditional, like, if you think old school, kind of like middle linebacker type situation.
Mm-hmm. Well,
but in this, you've got
your Mike and your Sting aren't your normal prototypical linebackers. See, Deontay Lawson, which is he was our Mike this year. He's probably not going to be our Mike this upcoming year. He's going to probably more than likely be the Sting.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I do.
Because if you think about it, Jihad Campbell plays better in space, and in this defense, the Mike plays better in space.
Yes. And yeah, I can see that. I can. All right, so you've got these metrics in football. There's 10,000 different ways to look at them. But one thing that Womack's defenses are known for is their aggressiveness. They rank 30th in the FBS and havoc rate, which is a defensive stat that results in a tackle for a loss, a sack, a forced fumble, interception, or a pass deflection. So causing havoc, disrupting a play, not just getting a tackle, but causing a loss, causing a turnover, tipping the ball, that kind of thing. On the same standard, we were ranked 42nd this year in havoc rate. Both defenses allowed the same amount of explosive plays. And you keep hearing Lushan talk about swarm. This is what Womack's defensive mantra is since back in his Indiana days. It's the swarm D. I think Alabama at one time had the DOA, the dead on arrival. It emphasizes rallying to the ball. I went back and watched some South Alabama versus Arkansas State. And all three levels would crash down on run plays to the ball carrier and group tackle. And it was impressive. Like, you could tell how well this unit was coached up. And I think Lushan can back me up on that. The more you've studied this and their ability to swarm to the football, you got to like what you see, what this coach has done, right?
I do. I'm a fan of it, and I'm excited to see what he's gonna do. It's gonna be important to see who he hires as that other inside linebacker coach, or who we get as our outside linebacker coach, as far as that's concerned. But yeah, I'm excited because this defense puts our players in playmaking positions. Not saying that they weren't necessarily in the last couple of years, but I will say they definitely weren't a lot of the time. And I will say that they're going to be put in positions to make decisions quicker. They're not going to have to think as much as they have in our past defenses. This defense, I'm telling you guys, it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah,
it's fun to just watch the film on it. And you plug in Alabama athletes with Alabama attitudes, spring ball's going to be awesome.
Real quick before we end the show, before we wrap it up, the gentleman from Washington, Jabbar Muhammad, who was all Pac-12,
yeah.
Have you heard any more or any
He's
less?
Oregon.
You think he's going to Oregon?
No, he committed to Oregon.
Did he commit to Oregon? Well,
yeah.
I knew he had some interest and had probably came to visit or at least talk to DeBoer, playing for him. But I was curious. I hadn't heard any more. I hadn't really looked into him.
No, I thought I sent that to you last night, but no, I think he committed yesterday. Either yesterday or Friday night. He was.
I know.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I know Van's not real up on the offensive line, but so I'm gonna ask you, Lucian. Are you very high on Scott Huff and working?
Oh, you must have. You weren't in here.
Oh,
you weren't in here. Oh, I said I was.
It.
Oh yeah, I'm very high on him. Like I said, this dude has had 5 seasons with a running back with having 1,000 yards. Justice Haynes, Jam Miller, Richard Young. You know what I'm saying? The freshman coming in. And we got 2 dudes coming in as freshmen too. I'm telling you what. And then with what they were able to do with just not giving up sacks, not giving up negative plays, not getting tackles for loss. All that does is that gives the offense more opportunities to get positive plays. And in our athletes' hands, if we get a guy that can facilitate the ball and get it out in the directions we need to go, we got the athletes that are the most explosive on the planet, flat out.
Do you see that, or both of y'all actually, can you see our offense is staying on the field? And you know where I'm going with this. No more of these 3 and outs. Can you see us sustaining longer drives, giving our defense a little more rest?
I think that comes right back around.
That was something we was lacking.
I think that comes back to the offensive line, giving up sacks and not giving great running holds for the running backs too. You can't extend drive when you're going backwards.
And also that's going to be on the quarterback too, to be able to study a defense, come in ready to go. That's going to be on everybody to just be more in tune with the game plan. Everybody's got to be more so on the same page. Now, as far as longer drives, it might not be like that because Washington was very explosive.
Yes.
Like you give it to you give it to Kendrick Law. That dude hit 23 miles an hour on the speedometer this year. Kobe Prentice, burner. Ryan Williams, burner. Manuel Henderson, burner. Jalen Hill, burner. our tight end Caleb Odom. Like we got guys that if they get in space, I mean, Icebox. I'd like to tell you that we're gonna have long drives, but it might not happen if these dudes get
Well,
on the outside.
I can still see it though, Lucian, with Scott Huff from what little bit I read that he is more of a, and from I've heard from Coach DeBoer that they do believe in running the ball.
You forget back when the playoffs first started, I was hyping this guy up and what his offensive line was capable of doing when they won the Joe Moore Award. Me and Coach Dude actually were hyping him up, talking about how well they worked and what their units did and how their percentages were higher than anybody else in the country for what they were trying to execute. Yeah, I think, man, you'd be hard pressed to not be excited that we plugged a major problem at the center position with a proven guy that's one of the best in the country. And then you take that, and then we've got that young right guard that is an absolute monster.
Who? They're both juniors, homie. They ain't young.
Well, that's still young to me. I mean, they're not a ninth-year transfer like a tight end at Miami. We're seeing 30-year-olds in football right now, Lucian. True juniors are young now, buddy.
I get that. But, I mean, like, to the offensive, like, as far as running the ball goes, they don't have Icebox. What I mean by, like, as far as sustaining drives, they had a running back that was more of a hammer to a nail. We have running backs that are lightning and thunder as well as that hammer.
Yeah.
So, like, whereas when they ran the ball, they had to run it more times to get what they needed done. You're not going to be able to get our running backs down how their running backs went down out west. It's not going to work like that with us. And I think with being able to stretch a defense out like that with what our running backs are going to be able to do, I'm telling you, our offense is going to be. This is going to be more of the offense when we had Mac, have passed for all them yards with Smitty, but I think we're going to have at least 2 1,000-yard receivers. We're going to have at least 2 running backs with at least 850, and I'd probably say at least 1,300 all-purpose yards because they're going to dump the ball off to the running backs too in space.
Yep.
Sounds good. Sounds real good.
All right, so we're getting ready to wrap this up, but before we do, Lucian, I know you'll be keeping an eye on the NFL. I know you're a Raiders guy, but you can go ahead and root for the Ravens. It ain't going to kill you.
Hence the color scheme, always black and gray, baby.
Yeah.
Love the shirt too.
You can go ahead. You can go ahead and root for the Ravens for me right now, though. But nah, it ain't gonna kill you.
No,
anyway.
I don't know that Marlon Humphrey character. He getting Marlon. He be getting Alabama folks all hyped up on Twitter with some of the stuff he be saying.
Yeah, I know it. But all right, so you got the 49ers and the Lions. Where's your head? Statistically, everybody's leaning 49ers. I know this. Where's your head at?
Listen, we don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide.
Tell it, Luce. Dang it.
So I'm going Detroit, and I hate Michigan.
Yeah,
I don't want to see Aiden. I don't want to see any of those Michigan folks even happy again. But I'm gonna tell you this: I gotta roll with the Tide, and that's Jahmyr Gibbs. You know what I'm saying? That's Jameson Williams, and that's my boy Brian Money Man Branch.
Yes. And let's don't sleep on Aiden Hutchinson's ability to disrupt pass plays while knocking passes down and all that. I'm telling you, he can rattle that quarterback, man.
I'll say that. And as far as the AFC, let it be known. I mean, Kansas City's got orange in it, and y'all know how I feel about the color orange. I hate it. I hate Patrick Mahomes. I hate Travis Kelce.
I think we all hate Travis Kelce. I
think it's safe to say I'm definitely going with the Ravens on that one.
There we go.
And no offense, I hate the Harbaughs. But in this situation,
I'm not hyping it up, but at least he didn't coach at Michigan. You know what I'm saying?
At least he didn't coach at Michigan, and he drafts Alabama players. So I will say my favorite for the Super Bowl is to not have any type of red in it. I want to see Baltimore and the Lions.
That would be impressive. Well, he don't really have a choice but to draft Alabama players because Ozzie set the standard for that, and they had so much success with all of them they drafted. He kind of had to continue that.
I mean, we do just have Pro Bowl players. I mean, just look at it.
Yeah.
Will Anderson in his first, after winning Rookie of the Year, is now going to be playing in his first Pro Bowl as a rookie, as the defensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, and the thing is, he didn't even really have a good coach. Guys, we have actual player development coaches now. To develop a player that is already a high caliber athlete is something we haven't seen done in a very long time. Probably since the likes of a Rashad Evans, Ryan Anderson, and those guys.
Yes.
That's how long it's been since we've seen somebody actually been developed other than in our defensive back room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Will Anderson came in. Yeah, he was just a stud from day one. But to see somebody actually developed into that upper tier, first round draft pick, NFL Hall of Fame player, it's been a while. And I'm excited that the standards returned.
Before we leave, Alabama Tide's about to go ballistic over here. He wants to know, and he's typed this very schizophrenic, and I have no idea. It says Alabama quarterback, 2 question marks, new coach. So I don't know. Does he think, is he leaning towards we're going to have a new quarterback under center?
I think that's what I read him say earlier. I think he said with the new coach, we're going to have a new quarterback. And I think there's a possibility of that. And honestly, it's Alabama. There's no such thing as having a favorite player. We're here to win championships.
Yes.
So the best player that gives us the best option to win a championship, that's who I want to be my starting quarterback.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. Me and you have talked a lot about this, behind the scenes. And that even though Milroe is a Heisman hopeful and brings a certain athleticism and a certain pizzazz to the game, if it doesn't fit what the coach is looking for, they will pick somebody else. People forget how deep our quarterback room is. Okay, it's not just the Milroe. Ty Simpson's sitting there. We've got Lonergan. We've got the new kid Austin Mack that is built like Josh Allen, maybe taller.
Oh, he's bigger than Josh Allen. That dude's probably about 6'6", 6'7".
Yeah, he'd be a great defensive end somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Like, this kid is humongous. And, I mean, our quarterback room is deep, guys. So, yeah, that's why I'm saying to be excited and to keep your eyes open towards spring ball because we may see things develop and play out that we hadn't necessarily thought about yet. I rock
wait a minute.
but I rock with the rest of the quarterback room too. I root for all these guys. I'm an Alabama fan. I'm not a player fan. So whoever gets us the best position to win, let's rock with them.
I say let's bring Tyler Buckner back.
Oh,
Icebox. Say something like that again. I will exit this.
I need a little soundboard over here where I can hit that. Wah, wah, wah.
Boom.
Something like that, yeah.
Look at Alabama Tide. He said schizophrenic my ass.
Right.
Well, he woke up and chose violence today, didn't he?
He did. You notice I quit reading my dadgum text over here. Anyways. All right. Well, guys, I tell you what, I appreciate Lucian and you guys talking about the defense and the offense and the coaches. Because I think our everybody, basically everybody, they're so worried about we're going to go straight to the bottom of the SEC. No.
Everybody thought they were dead. We don't go away. We just reload.
Yeah. Alabama's, the rumor of our death has been greatly exaggerated, folks. I promise you.
Keep thinking that will be the darkest thing in your nightmares, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Hey, I'm number one component, and you can ask anybody out there to chat anywhere. I've been trying to build the fans up that we're going to have a great year. Me and Van, and I think it was Rise Up, we went over the football schedule, and it was incredible to watch and listen to what everybody was saying. How are we going to have a decent season? What would we figure, 10-2 at the least?
At the least. And I'm thinking more. Let's also don't forget our buddy Nick Saban Jr. has also been hyping us up and talking about all these new recruits and how they'll fit. Man, he's got me pumped up. Every time he drops a video, it puts a smile on my face because there's something new and more exciting to put out. So,
Yeah.
man, I'm stoked. I really am. I haven't been this excited going into an off season in a long time because of the new possibilities. You know, Saban retires, and I hate that. And he's the greatest coach in Alabama history, in my opinion. And I'm not taking nothing from the Bear, but I can only go by what I've seen. And I was alive for this run. I wasn't alive for Bear Bryant's run. I can read about it, but my eyes weren't on it. What I've seen from this was the greatest run in college football history in 17 years, the most dominant run in history of college football. But that man's gone now. And so we got to be pumped up and ready and add to the fan base and excite them and back these coaches and let them know we're ready to go. And we don't expect a downfall. We expect continued success or more success. That's how you got to look at it. I don't walk around with my head down whining. That ain't how I'm built.
Mm-hmm.
No. We fighters over here.
Yep, that's all we do. So with that being said, Lucian, got anything you want to plug? Anything you want to throw out there?
Hey, I just want to thank you guys, for having me on here. It's always a fun time to come on here, talk to my main man Van and Icebox about the greatest football establishment ever created.
Yes,
Roll
sir.
Dadgum Tide. I guess just the usual. Rolu21 on Twitter, Lucian Graves on Facebook and Instagram. You can find me on The Greatest Show on the Greatest Network, talking about the greatest team in the country, the Bama Standard, specifically the Final Whistle on at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Standard, or 9 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday nights. And Van and Icebox, I'm going to take this opportunity right now. This is going to be an exclusive look to the show that has been going on in the background of the Bama Standard Network. Been working a couple months on it, and it's actually going to be coming to you in, I would say, 2 weeks. This man next to me, Van Edwards, has been working very hard. It's going to be great. We hope y'all like it. It's going to be a very, very in-depth, dark Alabama football conversation. We're going to dive into recruiting. We're going to do a film study. We're going to have former players on there talking about Alabama experiences, talking about how excited they are with the team, and just some inside knowledge. We want to keep everything updated in the off season. Then once we get into the actual spring ball, we'll do certain specials on that, and summer workouts. We'll just keep y'all updated on what's going on with the team. And I'm not going to reveal the name. I think I'm going to do that. We're going to do that on Tuesday night. We're going to have a little something for you guys. So tune in to the Bama Standard Network, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central on Tuesday night for an exclusive look at me and your boy Van Edwards bringing you some new Alabama content.
Yeah, that's the reason why I kind of brought up the explanations of the Stars, the Wolves, the Bandits, to try to give people a little bit more of what you guys are going to be about.
Yeah,
and that's the reason I brought it up.
Yeah, we're going to be not necessarily. It's going to be kind of like an instructional type of how to understand what's going on with the changes in the program. Yeah, and it's going to be to the point where everybody can understand it. We will have a period where we're going to be answering questions, but it's mostly going to be us just giving you guys information. So, obviously we're going to need your feedback, everybody in the comments, live section. Yep. It's going to be the same thing as ever, but it's just going to be a little bit different setup. And, me and Van are going to be in a little bit different characteristics that we're going to be doing, just to bring you a little bit different look, a little darker, a little deeper, because with the new factory reset, you got to have all the information, before you get swept into all the Walmart Alabama fans that are panicking right now. We're here to say on this on these networks that y'all don't need to panic. No. Y'all need to go dig in, because guess what? We're in for another deep run.
I love it. Myself, I'm going to start where I always do. I want to thank the people in the chat. Jeff Stapleton always adds something, always has great questions, very knowledgeable guy. Tom Reed, Joanne Glass, Little Joe C, B Jamming. Love to get you on the show one day, brother. Come on with it. Stephen Hicks, my main man. I see him everywhere. We always cut it up. Love that guy. Alabama Tide's my buddy. I don't want nobody to hear what I said earlier when I'm joking around and think I'm being mean. No, Deuce is my boy. I think the world of Alabama Tide. Spencer, the legend. I mean, one of the greatest hosts and absolutely come up with some of the best topics on Tuesday night with the Horsemen. He's fantastic, man. The list goes on. And if I forget anybody, I apologize. But my mouse doesn't seem to want to work, but I think I covered most. Regardless, the show is what it is because of the people in the chat. It's not me. It's not Icebox. It's not anybody guest-wise, whether it be Lucian or anybody else. It's what these people's excitement and what they bring to the table and their loyalty to always come in here, cut it up, be excited. It gets me excited, and you can't help but try your best to put on a good show when you've got good people like that around you. So I just want to thank them like always. Icebox.
I'm like you, man. I enjoyed the show. That's why I was in and out, so I could sit here and listen more than I have to sit here and look silly. But yeah, guys, Bam Bam Sports. Click like and subscribe. We need to get some more subscribers over if we can. Bigfoot show tonight at, I think, what did I say? 8 o'clock Central, I believe it was.
Can't wait. I can't wait.
Yep. It's fixing the rocket road. We had one last week. I thought it was really
man,
good. I enjoyed it.
That was really good. I'm telling you, man. Like I didn't even go out to smoke. If that tells you anything, eyes front and center on the TV. I had you on the big screen. I absolutely loved Alabama Tide's story. Loved Coyote's story, and I loved the way you weave through it. You ask great questions without placing doubt, but helping to paint a picture for what they had seen. And that's an amazing job. And it tells of your talents of being able to tell a story. And we call you the mad scientist, backstage because of the ability to create and pair up things and do things. So you've done a great job. I can't wait to watch it again tonight. I'll be in the chat, firing it up like always. Y'all know me. If I'm in the chat, I'm going to be cutting it up.
Yep. I hope we have a good one tonight. I hope so. But anyways, y'all come see us and have some fun with it.
Real quick, and I apologize. I forgot MFR Jones. I forgot.
Oh, he don't count.
I like MFR too, man.
Oh, I love him. I call him Mr. Jones, but every now and then I'll tell him what his real name is. Yeah, I love him to death. I do. Tom Reed, it's good seeing you. I do have one question, guys. Has anybody heard from Jeff? Not Jeff. Justin Summerlin.
I swear I thought the same thing last week, man. I have not seen him pop up nowhere in a while.
I hope he's okay.
Because I see him here. I see him over at the Bama Standard. I see him on Tuesday nights in the chat. I see him everywhere. And, man, I haven't seen him.
I haven't seen him on Tuesday nights. I don't know when. I haven't seen him on other shows. You know which ones we're talking about. I haven't seen him. I'm hoping he's okay. So if anybody hears anything about Justin, let us know. We're getting a little concerned about him because he's always been a good, faithful guy to come on here. And he's been on our show a couple of times.
Knowledgeable guy. He's excited.
Oh, yeah.
And upbeat. You can't help but kind of feed off that. You want to talk more, when you see him talking. Let's don't forget our main man here, Nick Saban Jr. and his channel.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll throw a few of them up while we're talking just a little bit.
Yep.
There you go. I'm really going to get with Lucian after the show and try to get a few things worked out so we can, because he's pretty good about coming on here, guys, and sharing the love with us. See if I can't get some stuff up here real quick. God, I can't never forget this man right here.
Absolutely not.
Rags Fitness.
Another great place to go. Love his enthusiasm. Love his positivity. Love the mind that he has and the way he thinks. And let's don't forget about our boy. I didn't get to see him in the chat today. I know he's busy. He's a family man like myself. But Roll Tide and Rise Up, who was on our show last week, man, one of the most talented guys on YouTube, in my opinion. I look up to him. He's like a big brother to me. I don't bug him very often, but I do text him every once in a while just to pick his brain.
Oh, I don't. Well, yeah. Y'all don't get it. I get to have fun. I get calls. Go ahead.
Oh, nothing.
All right. No, I get to have fun, and I've got him a great intro. I think it's a good one. So if he don't show, I'm gonna change it over to Van.
For what?
I haven't showed Rise Up's new intro.
Oh,
I want to, because I ain't no telling when he'll come back on. Or just show it just for the fun of it.
I'm telling you, it's like Bootsy Collins and George Clinton himself come in on that music. It's funky.
I'll tell you what, I'll use it as the outro.
I love it. Go for it.
Just because we don't know when he's going to be coming back, so I worked hard on it, and I wanted him to see it. So
Big Jammin brought up something, by the way. Congrats to NSJ for 1,000 subs, man.
Oh, did he get it?
Hard work being off, man. He works hard. He's around the clock. He's constantly commenting. He's constantly, man. He shows us love all the time on this channel. Helps us out a lot. And man, he works hard and he deserves it. I hope that 1,000 turns into 1,000,000 because he really deserves it. He's genuinely a great dude and a knowledgeable guy, and it's fun to see somebody grow like that.
Yep, and his recruiting is just top notch. You know, he's always on top of it. So if you miss it, you won't miss it with him. All right, that was pretty good. Yeah, I know he was 2 away there for a little while, and I was hoping he would get it. Now we're proud of you, NSJ. We sure are.
We sure are.
All right, Lucian, you got anything else, brother?
No, brother, man, I'm good. I'm good. Ready to go watch some football.
All right. Van, you got anything else, brother?
No, sir. Hit us with that funky outro.
All right, guys. All right, yeah, we're going to get out of here. And thank y'all for being over here again. We enjoyed it. And we will catch y'all hopefully tonight at 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern, Bigfoot show. It's going to be a Bigfoot researcher on there. Let's see what happens there. We'll have a good time. Y'all come see us.
Roll damn Tide.
Roll daggum Tide.
Say it again. Roll Tide.
Roll damn Tide.